Bad Blood, what if? I'm Will, that's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling,
Yeah, we like to do this before every PLE. Just kind of a what if scenario for different things. Who doesn't like to just run with ideas in their mind, you know? So we do this every time, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, just fantasy booking stuff that what if, what might happen, who knows? It's a pretty unpredictable PLE in terms of what we've gotten since WrestleMania, I think. So we might actually call something on this list.
Well,
maybe.
Probably not.
Don't get your hopes up. Anyway, we got a bunch of them here. So we're going to go down the line. I'm going to look at it kind of by match order, in which I think, obviously we're filming this early because once again, I'll be on a honeymoon when this comes out. But but we're going to just infer what comes first to last and go after it. So we are going to start with Damian and Finn Balor. I'm going to go ahead here and say, what if Damian wins clean, even if there is a Judgment Day run-in?
You know, as soon as you said Damian Finn, I was like, I bet you he's going to ask me, what if Damian wins clean? You know, we've talked about some of our other things before, in terms of we think Priest was pushed maybe a little bit too much. Maybe Judgment Day looked a little bit rough at times. And I have been on record as saying, like, Judgment Day, Finn, Liv, they both have to win. Yeah. But you made a really good argument for Damian winning this. I could see it. It's probably more 50-50 than I would like it to be. I think as a whole, for Damian stock, that is good for him. That kind of makes him look almost unbeatable, though. So in terms of this feud with him involved, it would kind of muddy the water for me. It would also lessen Finn and the Judgment Day, which I need them to be kind of more interesting. I could see it happening, though, just because, like you said, the break glass emergency for Gunther. I think that is a very likely scenario. There's not a lot of really good top faces on Raw when you look at it after Sammy. I mean, Sammy, we assume, is going to go, maybe this starts it, go off to the bloodline stuff. So what does Gunther do next? I think Punk potentially, but you kind of need a long time for that to build up because Punk's not there yet, in my opinion. So maybe they run it back with Priest, but it would definitely hurt the Judgment Day a lot, in my opinion, if Priest wins this clean.
Oh, if Priest were to win this with a bunch of Judgment Day shenanigans, say there's a bunch of Judgment Day shenanigans and like Rhea Ripley doesn't make an appearance because she has a match later. So say Liv and Rhea are out of this, and you just get the run in from, you know, Dom and Carlito and JD, and say somehow, some way, Damian still pins Finn clean. I think it'd be a disaster. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be an absolute disaster. Talk about, you know, we've been on paper saying, you know, we think Judgment Day looks very Looney Tune-ish at times. This would be like the nail in the Judgment Day coffin for me. I mean, I know that we've both been an advocate for like pushing Finn, and this is the start of that. Whether he wins or loses, they're going to keep pushing him, right? Yep. But like, it would be a big step back in my own personal stock that I give toward Judgment Day. Like that would be almost undoable for me.
Yeah, it's already been almost undoable for me. So yeah, it would be that final nail in the coffin. And that kind of goes and leads towards that question we had not too long ago on, should Judgment Day break up sooner or later? I think this is a very pivotal moment for that. If they do have it to where Priest just beats them all and Judgment Day looks stupid, just break them up at that point. Yeah. Because I'm not going to care.
Yeah, I agree. Finn should walk out the next day on Raw and just be like, what do I even have you guys for? And go do his own thing. Yeah. But on the other side of the coin here, we have, like we brought up in the past that, you know, I've been an advocate of like, I don't think Damian's losing this because I think that he is kind of in a glass for Gunther whenever you need him. And that's why he's booked so strong. But what if Finn Balor does pull off the upset here and wins clean? Say it's a Finn versus Damian match. Maybe you get some Judgment Day interaction in the middle, but you know, the last fourth of the match carries on and Finn somehow coup de grace wins this thing. You know, what is the consequence of that? Or what's the reaction to that?
Yeah, I think that's probably the way I would like them to go.
Yeah.
Even if you say win clean, like even if you have Judgment Day interfere and maybe it kind of leads towards the end and maybe it leads to Finn, I think that's the smartest decision they need because Judgment Day needs to look strong. You need to have Priest look a little weaker. You need to have Priest kind of lean on some people. You can have, I know Triple H loves his factions. I know at times we talk about getting factioned out in WWE, but Priest can get some people, team up with them, have a little faction because Priest is going to need the help at that point. I think that's the smartest thing because it prolongs this. I feel like we really want Finn and Priest again and again and again. If you have him lose right off the bat, I'm going to lose interest and it's going to be like, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. This only makes sense for business. Like Finn getting a win here and cementing himself as a quote unquote equal to Damian within this rivalry. And then down the road, you can at Survivor Series, have Damian beat him up or whatever you're going to do with the Judgment Day and Terror Twins, have the Terror Twins beat him up there. And then have the blow off match, maybe be the return of Demon Finn Balor down the line, because during the Judgment Day segments when they were all together in the background, you could see the Demon kit. So like it's there. But I just feel like if he doesn't get the win here, then all that's poof out the window for me.
And we kind of talk about this is kind of way off the map in terms of just what's right in front of us here. Again, we're recording this early, so maybe something happens. Maybe we see something between there and here. But we talk about Howdy and the Wyatt Six. Like we assume the American Made stuff is done. So they need somebody. Yeah. Judgment Day needs to look strong in order for them to kind of go after them. Yeah. Like I said, that's way down the line, but you need that.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. Just if you're going to keep Judgment Day here for a long stay, then like you got to pump them with some wins, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're moving on to the Nia Jax match. She has a couple opponents that could happen at this time. We are waiting on the Bayley Naomi shenanigans to take place. I'm guessing that it ends in some sort of triple threat, in my opinion. But I kept the what if away from Bayley and Naomi, right? Because I think that there's only one big what if question going into this match, and it is, what if Tiffany Stratton cashes in that Money in the Bank on Nia Jax?
Yeah, she should. I think.
Really? You think of Bad Blood?
Well, so I mean, I guess I have two different thoughts. Like, if I had the briefcase and the person I was wanting to cash in on was in a triple threat match, I feel like that would be the best chance for me to do it. Yep. And that just makes the most sense for me. Yep. I wonder if, I mean, it's called Bad Blood. So obviously there's bad blood in the water. So
what?
Obviously. I would just wonder, like, we've started to see Nia kind of go against Tiffany, rather than it being the cash in here. I wonder if this is when we finally get the breaking point, and that kind of starts it to where like now we can finally start talking about when and where.
I think, in terms of the question, what if Tiffany cashes in here? It's the perfect play, especially if it's triple threat, and only if it's triple threat, in my opinion, right? That would be the perfect play. If somehow Bayley and Naomi end up in this match, which again, by the time this comes out, that's set in stone. If it ends up being a triple threat, then you literally have a way for Tiffany to pin someone away from the match and end this thing. And I know the immediate rebuttal there is, well, there's always somebody else in the match that they can pin. Right. But this would feel more of like maybe Nia gets taken out by Bayley and Naomi, and one of them gets the upper hand, and then it's just Naomi and Bayley in the ring. And then you just have Tiffany be like, well, sorry. Yeah. And then you start that. I do want to pose the opposite or the flip side of the coin here. What if Tiffany cashes in and fails? We've talked about it so many times that whenever it's kind of calmed down lately. Yeah. But when Tiffany first won that briefcase, it felt like every single week Corey Graves or somebody mentioned the fact that, well, winning the briefcase as a woman means you 100% become champion because no one's ever failed. And it feels a little bit like they were leading us into a corner there. Yeah. But again, it's been a while since they've done it. I think it would be a huge fail for them to have Tiffany lose it. In my opinion, you have Chelsea Green win the Money in the Bank next year, and she becomes the one that fails for the first time, because I just think that she has that perfect type of character for that moment. But it'd be mind blowing if whenever Tiffany cashes in, let alone at Bad Blood, she fails at it.
Yeah, I guess to kind of revisit the what if she does, I think it is the perfect opportunity. I want to make that clear, because she can pin one of the other two, presuming it's a triple threat. Yeah. And then you can have Nia and her, she's like, I didn't pin you. Nia's like, well, I didn't lose my title.
Bingo.
Then you can run that back. Right. If she goes to cash in and she fails, that would be the biggest mistake so far that we've seen since Mania to me. I'm on record saying that I think Drew McIntyre winning the Money in the Bank was the worst decision that we've seen so far since Mania. If this happens and she fails, that overtakes that for me.
As we're talking about this, I didn't have this written down, but So as we just filmed this, the SmackDown just took place to where they had the stipulation of loser might go to Raw, and Nia mentioned that if you lose me this match, which she ended up not, but if you lose me this match, you should just go to Raw because I don't want to see you again.
Right.
That does leave you. That Money in the Bank briefcase can be used whenever.
Yeah.
And so what if she comes over to that Liv Rhea match?
Yeah.
We're talking about how Raw needs some singles women talent over there because the only singles women it feels like that are there right now are Liv and Rhea. Yeah. I mean, that could get spicy too.
It really could. and so there's a flip side to that.
Yeah.
It solves the title because we talked about on the Raw title scene for the women that the feud's not really kind of about the title.
Right.
It's there, but it's kind of just like a prop. Tiffany could take that and she could challenge she could face whoever, I should say, once she gets that. So it brings legitimacy to the title there. But I think SmackDown has laid such good groundwork over there with her and Nia, her and Chelsea Green, Naomi, Bayley, like all of them. Michin can even be involved at times. But there's so much good groundwork there. Potentially Charlotte returning sometime. She typically is a SmackDown woman. So that's down the line, maybe Mania. That just seems like that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
It would be shocking though if she went to Raw and she cashed in, and then on the following Monday it's Tiffy time to start the show. I mean,
and then she'd show up on SmackDown, and Nia would talk to her like she's still her little like Barbie doll, and Tiffy'd be like, "I'm a champion too." Like no, that'd be nuts.
And then they just do a Survivor Series champion versus
back
champion.
in the day when they used to do champion versus champion matches. It writes itself. I'm just saying here.
Yeah, give me the Bloodline versus the Judgment Day, or
that'd
the
be
Wyatt
sick.
Six.
That'd
Boom.
be sick. Oh wow, that'd be sick. Anyway, we're gonna stick with the women here. We're gonna do the Rhea versus Liv match, and there's only kind of one big burning what if to me, and it is the very long rumored re-debuting of Raquel Rodriguez. What if Raquel Rodriguez shows up at Bad Blood to help Liv overthrow Rhea or overtake Rhea or just beat Rhea?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most likely thing to happen.
Yeah, I'd book it.
It's WWE. I'm not sure of anything. They could do whatever they want to do. I did see her posting some stuff about looks like she's getting back in the gym again. So seems like that's going to happen. I would book that. It would be to me kind of like a like a Shawn Michaels and Diesel or Shawn Michaels and Sid Vicious type of like bodyguard situation. Yeah. I think it needs it. I think you delay the inevitable because Liv would be up on Rhea 2-0 at this point now. If that is the case, Rhea would eventually obviously get the win and get the title, but you don't want that to happen right now. Push that down the line, have her feud with Raquel. But if that is the case, you got to have Liv. You got to have Liv do something. You can't have her just hold the belt and hide behind Raquel. So I'm kind of conflicted.
That's 100% what would happen.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But that's 100% what would happen. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, I've really struggled back and forth with this because of the idea of I would really love for Liv to just be a champion that like is a badass because that was her whole purpose, right? The Revenge Tour was supposed to be that, but we've kind of just completely downgraded that character at this point to where I don't think that side of Liv is going to come back in this storyline. I think she's done too much running. I think she relies on Judgment Day too much. That's just kind of her character now, whether you like it or not. Mm-hmm. And me personally, we talk about how Damien's been so overbooked and just raw Superman. I mean, Rhea is, she's hitting the men, right? So to me, you need somebody to even that out a little bit. So if Raquel Rodriguez wants to show up and if they book her the right way, I mean, that woman can look, she kind of looks down on Rhea. That's how tall she is. It would just be it'd be a good visual and a good addition to like this current story that they're telling between Terror Twins and Judgment Day, whether you like the route or not.
Yeah, and you could, I guess, like I said, I know she's going to hide behind her, and I get that. I just want Liv to kind of, even if she does hide behind her, just fight a little bit more interaction. It would be a great visual. I need Raquel to like destroy Rhea, to really kind of put her over. Maybe Rhea misses the Raw after or something because of how bad the attacks are. I also think it's kind of like a safe play for Liv to somewhat like, she'll still be interacting with the Judgment Day. She'll still be into the Judgment Day and stuff like that. But I think it's kind of a smart interaction to kind of maybe drive her a little bit away from it.
Clip the women away from that story.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree there. That to me, that'd be important right now. Mm-hmm. As much as I do love the Liv and Dom.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could still have that, but I think it'd be like Liv and Dom and then Judgment Day, like the 3
Yeah,
from Judgment
no, I
Day
agree.
be separate. You know,
I agree. Staying on the Dom point though, we have learned by now that Finn was the man behind the Liv and Dom love triangle.
Thank you, Finn.
Thank you, Finn.
Hashtag thank you, Finn.
But that, the earliest fan rumors or conspiracy theories were that Finn is behind the whole thing, and he was really the one with Liv the whole time, right?
Yeah.
I do want to throw this out there, even though I think it's way too early. But what if Finn and Liv were to turn on Dom after this win?
Oh man!
Imagine Liv beats Rhea with the help of Finn, and then Finn and Liv are getting together, and then Dom's just left in the middle without Rhea, without Liv, and he's just sitting there like, oh,
yeah. I don't think. I think it is too early. I do agree with that, but I do think eventually we probably do get something like that. And I've also heard people talking about they want AJ to come over to Raw because like her, Finn, and AJ kind of had that little like trio thing years ago or however long ago it was. I think that would be kind of a few months away. I think Dom right now has so much heat on him as a heel that I think trying to turn him into like the babyface role would kind of backfire in a sense.
Oh, 100%.
So I think you keep that on him right now, but maybe you slowly get to that point. And then maybe you have Dom kind of be like a bad luck Corbin, not in a sense of like, I lost my money and all that stuff, but like kind of like a disheveled walking around, kind of a mess character, kind of getting that sympathy back up. Maybe he goes and looks for sympathy and like forgiveness from Ray.
That'd be nuts.
Something like that.
Yeah, that'd be a crazy character arc or start of a character story for him.
Yeah, something eventually down the line. I think we do get something like that, and then I think we slowly turn Dom face, and then admittedly, that would be fantastic because we talk about way down the line stuff. I'm going to say it right now. We have Dom versus Finn at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I could see it. I could definitely see that.
So,
yeah.
I'm going to probably be wrong on that.
God, I'm just so against turning Dom face though.
Like I said, it's months away.
I know.
Months, maybe January.
We're going to move it on to the next match. Gunther taking on Mr. Sami Zayn. I'll get it out of the way. We talk about WWE not capitalizing on the moment sometimes. Sometimes they delay it just a little too long and it feels like they almost missed their moment. That's kind of where we're at with Jay. We're filming this right before Jay takes on Braun Breaker, so I might be eating my words on that. But Jay, they kind of missed his window to try to put the world title on him because now we're in a moment where he can't really get it. LA Knight last year, there was a moment where he was popping out of the world and they didn't give him any title. And now we're say
Cody Rhodes.
You could say Cody Rhodes at Mania 39, even though they lucked out on them just being the most over people on earth. But a man who is very, very, very over, whether we like him or not, is Mr. Sami Zayn.
Yes.
And so you got to think there's story here. There's history. There's a reason for it. What if Sami Zayn captures his first world championship and beats Gunther?
I didn't think this was going to be the what if for this match. The what if I thought was going to be was what if Sami Zayn hits the haluva kick? That's what
the first move of the match and squashes Gunther.
Squashes Gunther.
He actually retires Gunther because it's
he
the
hits
most
too many haluva
kick. It's the most. It's like a Bill Goldberg kick on Bret Hart. It ends your career, bro. It just ends your career.
For the what ifs, they're always fun and they're good to talk about, and we kind of ramble on at times. That's why we kind of like doing these. This one, I think, if that is the case, that's the most. I would say the Tiffany losing the failed cash, and this would overtake that as the worst booking decision.
I agree.
I think there's no chance of that. Sami he's in a good spot right now. And people might say, what do you mean? He hasn't really done anything and he comes out and challenges Gunther. I think this is a really good chance to put the ultimate babyface back on him. Like he comes out in his promos and he talks about it, but we haven't really seen him get like utterly destroyed. Like he held his own against Braun Breaker.
Yeah, I agree.
So I want to see Gunther go out and just destroy Sami and kind of get that, for me at least, that backing again where I feel some sort of sympathy to him, because right now I just feel annoyed.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sami needs to rub off on Gunther here. He needs to give him the rub. And I think that Sami has that. He's built up enough stock and love from the fans that like seeing Sami get beat up pretty good here would have meaning. Yeah. And this is, again, the one little kink in the armor of Gunther is the Sami Zayn kink. And getting through that is going to be the best part that he can, that builds his world title run right there. Now we can kind of get it started, get this thing moving. But one thing that could hurt his title run, or one route that we could go, we're teasing it now. Foley. What if Ludwig turns on Gunther at Bad Blood?
Yeah. That'd be another reason for Tiffany to cash in. Tiffany cashes in. Tiffany's a face. She goes over to Raw. Her and Ludwig are.
What if Tiffany cashes in on Gunther? forcing Ludwig to help her. It just makes sense.
I would say that this one would be too soon as well. I think
yeah.
Ludwig is really kind of finding his own right now as like that heel. I'm really enjoying his promos. I see people online talking about it as well now that they see the growth in him right now. I still like that. I still like him being the quote unquote sidekick right now, but he's like, I'm doing my own thing, but yet he still is kind of like the sidekick. So I kind of like that. I think eventually you'll get that. Like you said, with Triple H, they do really long stories. So we just got it as of last week as we're filming this. So it'd be about 3 weeks-ish from Bad Blood. So I think that'd be a little bit too soon.
I don't know. I think they're going to do it. I don't think it's a what if. I think this might be a prediction here because I don't think they're going to run Sammy back. Like I think Sammy and him have already had their big feud with WrestleMania and all that stuff, and Sammy won it. And I think this is just a one-off where the whole purpose is for Sammy to give him the rub of beating him, but also get the thought into Ludwig's mind to plant that idea. And then that's going to be the next feud of Gunther's. Now, do I think Gunther fights a Survivor Series? I don't really know. But I think that the next feud that Gunther's going to have is going to be this Ludwig feud. And I think they'll take that to the moon. Because there's no route, really, unless you want to just throw CM Punk right at this thing.
That would be what I would think.
Oh.
I think that, and I guess it depends on who you think is next. I think that maybe they do have it be CM Punk, but then it's like, and then maybe Ludwig costs him there, and maybe Ludwig costs Gunther the title there, and they have a feud without a title, because they're kind of starting to like, the wheels are starting to turn. You got Bad Blood here, and you got Crown Jewel, you got Survivor Series, and then I think after that, I don't remember if there's one in December, but then you're looking already
Saturday night's main event, baby.
Oh yeah, but then you're looking at Rumble already.
Yeah,
so it's like we're already starting to get the ball rolling, and I think we do get that Punk Rollins one. So like at Mania, so it's like you're starting to look towards there. So I think maybe the next feud, I think the next one would be Punk him, because, and admittedly, like from what I've seen from Punk, I like seeing Punk, but if I could see Punk going in a ring with Gunther, I'm like, oh, Gunther's destroying him. Yeah. So I think you do need some help there. So I think that it's gonna be down the line a little bit.
I said at the beginning of this, we'd go by match order. We now know that Punk and Drew are going on last, and I'm going to go ahead and jump the gun here and go with them first, because I think that there's more what ifs with the Bloodline story at the end.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many what ifs here. We could have easily done like the what if Punk wins, what if Drew wins, but we talked about that stuff so much in length that I don't think we need to do that.
That's fair.
But I think that the only what if that I kind of want to see here is that, you know, Drew has made this very much about family and the bracelet, and then you have the Wade Barrett thing. So like, what if somebody gets involved in this Hell in a Cell match, whether it be Wade Barrett, whether it be an AJ, you know, an AJ return, something big there?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, as I just said with Punk and Gunther, I mean, Drew made a really good point. Like Punk really just kind of walked around and hit 4 turnbuckles. Like, you think that he can really beat me one-on-one, so you have like a Hell in a Cell. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some type of return. I almost think you kind of need it. To kind of level the odds, because again, you look at Punk, you look at Drew. I understand Punk is trying to get in that main event scene. Drew kind of is already established there, right? And I mean, you look at the two and you're like, Drew's going to destroy this guy. So I think you do need some sort of something to even the odds. But I think that would almost leave a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, me too.
It's like,
yep, exactly.
You have Punk needs to do it on his own, in my opinion, but it's also like, you get so many, also from the PLE standpoint, you get so many, like there's so many different potential things. And we've talked about that before with other PLEs. We're like, what if this happens? What if this? And then you come out and you're like, oh, we didn't get anything?
Yeah, nothing. Right. Yeah, I wrote that what if down just because of Wade Barrett stuff. And I do maybe see Wade Barrett maybe throwing a punch. I don't think it's going to be a big deal within the match, though. He
hits that elbow.
Yeah, hits him with the elbow once. Maybe it spills to the outside of the cell, and we get a bunch of shit talk between Drew and Wade, and he eventually just gets mad and gets him going. But And then maybe an AJ if they celebrate. That's big what if. Maybe if Punk wins and she makes her debut that way and returns and gets in the ring with them. But I do think this is going to be a clean, just brutal, barbaric match where we get a dominant, where we get an undisputed winner. This is the end of the feud. Raise your hand.
Yeah,
Ta-da.
and that's how the Hell in a Cell should be.
Exactly.
Also, I think it's important that, like, I think the way they booked this match, we'll just talk about it real quick and we'll go on to the Cody bloodline. Drew kind of dominates, and you see that size discrepancy. You see the strength, you see the power of Drew. And then Punk just kind of keeps fighting, keeps that perseverance going, and he's got that resiliency on 2K, and he just, like, hits a GTS eventually, and maybe an Anaconda Vice somewhat throughout the match to hurt him. And then you hit a GTS or two, and
an elbow drop off the top of the cell through the announce table while Wade Barrett's holding him down. Book it. Got it. All right. Move on to
the top of the cell is broke in the middle, and Punk does an elbo through that. He dives through the middle.
With a flaming 2x4 with barbed wire and tacks. We're going to go Bloodline and Cody Roman.
That's
this one.
Actually a good prediction. Don't mean to interrupt you, but tax
are going to be there.
Yeah.
Didn't he used tax in AEW, didn't he? In the Samoa Joe match?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, just Hell in a Cell always has some sort of tax or chairs.
I just hope the cell is not red. Okay, Bloodline versus Cody and Roman, or Solo and Jacob Fatu versus Cody and Roman, technically, but we all know that everybody's going to be there. We might as well just say this is a 4v2 match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there's a bunch of shit that can happen here, so we're going to get the big one out of the way. I think there's a lot of big ones here,
It's a lot.
But I think one that everybody's starting to start for. Are we going to get members coming back at during the match? What if we get Jimmy? What if we get the Wise Man? What if throughout the night maybe they're talking to Jay and even he feels like he should get involved? What if we get some of those returning Bloodline members here at Bad Blood?
Yeah, I think we get Jimmy for sure. I think that's 100%. I think Jay is, we probably hold off on that. Although it would be interesting because Jay is like, you have that, but Jay's not around that. But then you also have like the Rhea stuff that Jay's involved in, and the Priest stuff Jay's kind of involved in that stuff too. So
yeah, it
would be weird to not have Jay at all on this PLE. I feel like they continue to just not have him in some sort of fashion, and I feel like they should. I think Jimmy comes back, and then maybe you have them try to even the odds a little bit. It is still 4v3. Maybe the numbers game still takes over. And then maybe that leads to, after Bad Blood, you have Roman and Jimmy kind of like team up on Cody in a sense and kind of turn on Cody.
Oh, I think Roman's done with Cody. Well, I don't know. We have the Roman Cody stuff. Yeah,
I think it's going to be the crown jewel thing. Yeah, so I think that's just how they set it up.
Yeah, I agree. I would bet on Jimmy. I would bet on Jimmy this time, just because I know that War Games is Survivor Series, and I don't think that we're going to be doing. I think that they have held out so long on Jimmy that it does deserve a PLE comeback.
Yeah.
They were so often, like, I thought for sure he was coming back when they debuted on USA.
Yeah.
Especially when they were all in that cell or the steel cage together, and I was like, well, he's outnumbered. Here he comes. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're waiting a long time for the Wise Men, and then of course I think the last guy to join the group is going to be Jey Uso. That's going to be the big, like, okay, now they're ready for the overtaking of the Bloodline part.
And then maybe if they add, if Bloodline 2.0 does add a fifth member, because the War Games are typically like 5v5. I've seen things with Zilla. I think his GCW, they just had a difference in terms, and he doesn't work for them anymore. So
I think he signed with AEW.
Oh, did he?
I think he did.
So anyway, well, that'd be out the window.
I may be wrong.
But then you have it like, I think if that is the case and it is 5, then maybe you have Jay and Sammy return together.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think Jay is going to be the last one. I think Jimmy is going to be on there. Rikishi, obviously, at the time we're recording this not too long ago, talked about pray for Jimmy. I think he's kind of starting to talk about Jimmy, trying to get the hype back up for Jimmy. And Jimmy does come back.
I think Rikishi's just an idiot.
Well, that's
Rikishi. Side tangents wrestling. Rikishi also tweeted that WWE is booking Jacob Fatu too quickly.
Yeah, he did do that.
Wait.
That's a different video for a different time.
Jacob Fatu's like the one guy in all of wrestling that all wrestling fans are like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I like that. Like, what do you mean? Anyway, we'll get on with the next one. I do want to say it. What if Kevin Owens turns heel on Cody Rhodes here at Bad Blood? You think it's coming here at Bad Blood? I'm going to go ahead and go for it. I think it's 100% happening. Or I think it's coming the SmackDown after. I think either it comes to the point where all the bloodlines out there, effery's happening, and Roman and Cody need somebody, and Kevin Owens is going to be like, okay, well, Cody's been saving my back week after week. I'll be out there. And then you see some sort of like acknowledgement between Cody and Roman, maybe a handshake of like peace. And then Kevin Owens is going to be like, what the hell, man? Stunner. You know, but I think the heel turn is either, it's 50-50 to me. It's coming within that week, either Bad Blood or the Friday night afterward. Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think it's 100% happening in that week. If you asked me, I'd probably say 80-20. I think it happens at Bad Blood. I think you have it to where we just talked about the numbers game. For Bloodline 2.0 members, you have Roman, Cody, let's say Jimmy comes back, so you got 3. Need one more person to even the odds there. Kevin Owens comes out, saves Cody. They all stand tall. Cody, KO, Jimmy, Roman, and they're sitting there celebrating or whatever. And then
KO's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
wow.
Or maybe he just hits Cody with the chair like they typically like to do. Something like that. And then he just walks off. So Cody,
Roman laughs.
Yeah, so Cody's like laying face down, and then you have Jimmy and Roman standing there in the ring, just like, what the hell? Or
Roman, I can just see Roman in his like comedic timing now, just be like, been there, just walk out of the ring.
Yeah, or maybe those two walk out of the ring, like after you have Bloodline 2.0 leave, you have those two leave, and you have Cody, Kevin in the ring, and then that's when you get it. I think Bad Blood is where we get it. Like I said, I think Cody Roman is going to be at Crown Jewel, but after that, we don't really know what's going to happen. So he needs a Survivor Series match. So Kevin Owens seems to be the easy pencil in there.
Last one, just real quick. What if the Bloodline does beat Cody and Roman? I think that this is not just a what if. I actually think it's probably more likely. I know in our predictions, I have Cody and Roman winning just business decision wise because it's Roman and Cody. Don't need to go into that again. Watch our predictions video if you want to see that. But I think that it would just be it'd catapult the Bloodline 2.0 into a position that they have been scratching and clawing at trying to get to that position, but they just can't get there. And it would really do them wonders. And honestly, just for story purposes, I hope they do it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. In the prediction video, I said that I think that they do.
Yep.
I think this one's pretty likely. Just in the sense of you need to build up for that War Games match. You have Bloodline 2.0 that is like, they're there, but they're kind of not there. They're not on the level of Roman and the original Bloodline. And so you need some legitimacy there. I mean, hell, every time Roman comes out, he spears or punches Solo, and he beats Tamatanga, and he beats Tongaloa, and the only one he hasn't beaten is Fatu, which admittedly is smart. Push that off. But you need to establish Bloodline 2.0 because Roman is kind of the Damian Priest-esque in the SmackDown side.
Yeah.
And Roman,
he's earned it, but yeah.
And Roman's Roman. I mean, I should say Damian Priest is the Roman on Raw.
Yeah.
Let me just, before I get destroyed in the comment section. But Roman is deservedly so just that top guy. We need that faction to look somewhat powerful and really start them just kind of beating them up, because that's when the great returns happen.
Yep, exactly. There's not much more to say. I think it would be a phenomenal story route for them to go. It would just, everything would be included after that. The returns and everything, puzzle pieces would line up. So hopefully they pull that off.
Yeah, and you can have them like SmackDown, boom, they get beat up, and then maybe you have them, you slowly integrate them. Like maybe Bloodline 2.0 just continues to wreak havoc every week.
Yeah.
And then slowly integrate that. And then maybe like the SmackDown before Bad Blood, you have just like a standoff and an all-out fight to like kind of preview you have the whole locker room empty to separate everybody, and
that'd be sick. Book it.
I'd like that.
Anyway, those were our what ifs for Bad Blood. As I said at the beginning, finally it feels like a PLE that we're not just like penciling everything in here. Hopefully our aspirations aren't too high, which they always are. So I'm sure we'll be disappointed with some of this, but should be a great show. I will be back for it. We will have our review up ASAP, right back on schedule. Our reviews will be coming out. We're going to be back on it at this point. So looking forward to getting back onto schedule. So be looking out for our Raw reviews and our SmackDown reviews, and ball's rolling again.
Mhm.
So looking forward to it.
Just like WWE. We're picking it up and going.
Right back at it. Anyway, follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, etc. And if you want to come talk to us, we got ourselves a Discord. Come join it. Come talk during Bad Blood. It'd be a lot of fun. It's in our link tree in our bio. And while you're there, hit every social and go ahead and follow it. We'd love it. But I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.